Welcome back, friends. Let us start our last and most important technical session for the day. New avenues of practice in field of forensic and information technology. As we all aware, the traditional practice is slowly vanishing. At that moment, we have to look for newer opportunities. In that respect, we have arranged this session. To share knowledge in this, we have CA Anand P Jangid. May I request CA Anand P Jangid to come forward and also welcome. It is my pleasure to introduce CA Anand P Jangid. Anand is a chartered accountant, certified information systems auditor, certified information system manager. His area of specialization includes governance, risk and compliance, and analytics. He is one of the founder of Quadrix, a startup working in the area of fraud analytics and anomaly detection using machine learning and big data. He is a subject matter expert in the field of fraud detection and IT controls. Anand was part of the risk management team at Goldman Sachs, covering multiple audits across much geography for different functions in the organization. His areas of specialization were forex audit, DP audits, anti-money laundering, Basel II, BCP, and operational risk. Prior to Goldman Sachs, he was with the ES Consulting Group at Infosys Technologies Limited, Bangalore. He was involved in the development of regulatory compliance framework for various compliances like Sarbanes-Oxley Act, etc., and was part of the team developing solution for Basel II according to Accord implementation. His responsibility included working in sync with project of Infosys Consulting, Dallas. He has been involved in enterprise risk management implementation and IT audit for many international projects at USA, UK, Japan, and China. Other professional interests of him are was honorary treasurer of ISACA local chapter, speaker on big data and fraud at Chicago Geek Week, visiting faculty at ISACA and IMB, presented papers on enterprise risk management and IT controls at various national and international forums. He has conducted many international workshops on enterprise risk management. With this brief introduction, let us once again welcome CA Anand. Over to you, Anand.
Thank you. So, very good evening, everyone. I know it's the last session. You guys are all tired. I was talking to one of my colleagues, Senthil, he was here, and he was saying sessions were all great. So, I just thought what value add I can make. And I know all of you guys are all tired with all information overload and stuff like that. So I will keep it very crisp, okay? I have already promised myself that come what may, 5:30 we'll close the session, okay? So that I will ensure, point number one. And I will try to cover two areas. And giving a disclaimer beforehand, my focus is to ensure that all of us understand some of the new opportunities which are coming. I'm not trying to belittle what we are having right now. On the same side, we need to understand there are a huge number of case studies which tells if we don't change or adapt, you become extinct, right? Just like dinosaurs. So we don't want to be in something like that. And my focus is from audit and risk management perspective, because I'm not going to talk about taxation. All of you, how many of you love taxation? Okay. You guys are all dangerous people. But being a CA myself, I have my own issues with taxation. So I'm not talking of taxation, but my focus is from an audit and risk management perspective. So this is the statement I always try to say. The knowledge that we don't have full knowledge is the greatest knowledge of all. So I may just excuse me if I miss something. This is what I'm going to talk about today. First is the check-in. The second one is the famous Nokia syndrome. I don't know how many of you heard about that Nokia syndrome. No? Okay. You know about Nokia, right? Okay, we're going to talk about that. Understanding forensic and impact and opportunities. Third, understanding data analytics landscape, what's happening out there, what kind of things are coming up right now, what, something if you have to plan for next 5 years where you should invest your energy. So I'm talking about from that perspective and check out. So this is the agenda for today. It's 4:51. Effectively I have around 45 minutes to take you through that. So this is the Nokia syndrome, what we say. The statement of the Nokia CEO when it was taken over, the smartphone division was taken over by Microsoft, was this. He said, we didn't do anything wrong, but somehow we lost. And upon saying that, the management team was into emotional outburst and everything happened. Now, why is this so important? Nokia, as if you know, I don't have to go with charts and everything, but it was to the leader, right? I hope most of you, your first phone was Nokia, right? See? And imagine, I know the snake game was amazing, I used to play it, right? Now, from that, today we don't have the name anymore. That organization has gone. Now, if you see, it happened in a couple of years, from being the world market leader to something which is no one cares about. It just happened in the period of 3 to 5 years. What I'm trying to say is, the environment which we live in is very, very dynamic. It's changing on a daily basis. It's changing at a pace which we cannot think of. Now, from the perspective why I'm giving this, the advantage, the three, what distinguishes the learning which happened in this whole concept. The advantage you had yesterday will be replaced by friends of tomorrow. Now, what is the advantage in auditing per se and risk management? We have advantage that we are born auditors. By the time we are trained, we know what is risk management, what are the areas to look into. But what the trends of tomorrow, are they going to be so much focused on? Like for example, when I used to do my articleship, my boss used to tell me 100% vouching means punishment. Today you can do 100% vouching. It's not a big deal, right? Because technology has enabled it. Same thing. And there are some senior members out here, they will vouch for me. There was a time when the moment your trial balance tallying, your audit is over. Manual books of account. Today your trial balance is tallied on a daily basis, right? So it has changed. Now, my point is that this things what is happening in our profession is also similar, which has impacted Nokia. So which means they had advantage over others, but they lost that. That advantage was lost because of not doing anything. Second, to change and improve yourself is giving yourself a second chance, and to be forced by others to change is like doing discarding. If you remember, Nokia's first touch phone came around 2.5 years after iPhone and other things. So they actually, Apple took advantage out of that, Samsung took advantage out of that, and they just did it because competition is doing it. Because they themselves did investment into innovation and everything. And that's a lesson to everyone. If you don't invest into yourself, in terms of upgrading yourself, we become dinosaurs, extinct. And the third one, which is very interesting, those who refuse to learn and improve will definitely one day become redundant and not relevant to the industry. And that's something which is very true in the perspective of the next some of the slide I'm going to talk about, from forensic accounting and why it is becoming so popular, everyone is talking about. But the idea is, the lessons learned are very expensive. If we don't change, don't adapt to that area. So overall, this is called the Nokia syndrome. If you've not heard about that, there are big blogs on that, even a book written on that, why Nokia failed. It's a very good learning. I was told by one of my mentors, Mr. Rafiq, he always says, in 21st century it is all about unlearning and learning. What we learn, unlearn and learn again, new things. That's the only way we can survive. Now, having said that, let's go to why this interest into fraud and forensic. What I'm showing you is a number. Okay? The number is 3.7 trillion USD. How many zeros in this? Any idea? Accounting experts, tax experts can tell us. I don't know. Huh? 12 zeros? Who said 15? 13. Okay. 13, okay, we'll adjust. So I just want it like 13, 12, somewhere near 13, I think is the number which is there. Okay. Now, that is the amount, what you are seeing here is a very interesting number. This is a number given by a body called ACFE, Association of Certified Fraud Examiner, USA. Every 2 years they come out with something called as Report to the Nation. You can go to the site of acfe.com and download the Report to the Nation. Okay? It's a big 182 pages PDF. So whenever you are not doing anything, please read that. Okay, it's a good book. I'm honestly telling you, it's a nice, I would say, artifacts which tells you about what you are dealing with. Now, as per them, they say, if I take the Fortune 500 companies worldwide, take their turnover, and as per them, 5% of their top line is lost to fraud. 5% of the top line, not the bottom line, is lost to fraud. And when they calculated that only for the Fortune 500 companies, it was something around 3.7 trillion. Now, don't you think that's a huge amount of money being lost because of fraud? Now, the question arises, what were the auditors doing? Yes or no? I don't know if it happened with you or not, but when certain fraud happened, for close to around 6 months, I stopped going to any of the family functions. You know why? Because they'll ask, what happened in Satyam? As of I was auditor, I don't know what happened in Satyam. Investigation is going on, they will know, right? But there's a perception, right? Anything happens, agree or not, this is a perception, right? So this is a perception, if anything goes wrong, there's a, what were the auditors doing? So the same question comes, what were the auditors doing? Then, you should go deep dive into that report. There is one very nice chart which talks about, and this is, okay, by the way, this is not just US number. This is worldwide number. They take an average. In this case, there was 1,822 cases which were investigated, and based on that, they come to this number. And what is more shocking is, this report to the nation is coming every 2 years. Every 2 years, they publish this report to the nation. So you can get 2014 edition also. You can download the old one. 2012, 2010. Every even year they publish. If you take the report of 2010 and compare, the number that time was something around 7 point some percent. So from 7 it has only come down to 5%. It is not going down. For last 3 reports it is at 5%, which means despite so much of hula-boo about fraud, everything, and if you see the new Companies Act, there is a section 471 which talks about fraud and blah blah blah, so much of issues and everything, despite that frauds are not coming down. Now that's something which is shocking. Now I thought, why is not coming down? Then I saw one part or some exhibit in that report which was very interesting. This was the exhibit. You say how fraud were detected. Okay, so if you see, I have highlighted this 3 in a little bit of blue, 1, 2, 3. So the biggest number of fraud which were detected are by tips. Someone just, whistleblower mechanism or something like that. Someone said, oh, this guy, he is having a nice car, suddenly something is doing, all that kind of thing. Second was internal audit. I know this exhibit is not very clear. It is only 16% of the fraud came because of internal audit, which means actually more than, if you see, the 43% was because of tip, 43%, only 14% because of internal audit. So what was the internal audit guys doing? And if you see external audit, 2.8%, 3%. So they are like, in fact, doing useless work, because fraud is the biggest thing. And if I'm losing money, why do I do audit? Because we are being empowered by the shareholder to ensure that everything is hunky-dory or something, and everything is working fine. And last one, IT controls, which we talk about a lot, is just 1% of the fraud were detected by that. Now, why this is all so interesting is, somewhere people have started asking what audit is doing. Why are we spending so much of money on audit if I don't get a valuation? If it is just in compliance, okay, so it will be something like what happened in bank audit. Bank audit started like a nice thing. And over a period of time, how many of you done bank audit here? All of you. Okay, so you know LFAR, right? Control C, Control V. So over a period of time, it became something like opinion, because audit is an opinion. Your opinion, my opinion may differ, so it's all fine. So over a period of time, it lost its value, and we are seeing our leaders are doing something good for trying to revive that. But the point is that if we don't add value to our clients, and over a period of time, it may happen. The client may say, "We don't want this." Why? Because there is no value addition. Now, this was one of the reasons what led to the rise of forensic accounting or forensic auditing. Their words are used interchangeably. We will see that. What is that? But this was where business started to think that is audit failing us. In internal audit function and other things, we are investing so much of money, but we are not getting a return on the investment which we are expecting. This is one interesting case which has happened. Okay, before I go to this case, all of you have read your auditing book? Yes. Otherwise, you would not be staying here. So, which was the favorite part of your book? Apart from sleeping on top of that, like using as a pillow, what is the best part? Come on, tell me. Ethics? Because 20 marks? Or what? My favorite part used to be, the last pages of the auditing book has case studies. All the English law case studies. Do you know most of the case studies, how old were they? 1800 something, 1939, and there used to be one famous case study where one of the judges says, the auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. Right? 10 marks pakka question used to one attempt, right? I used to mug a file. Last attempt has not come, this attempt will come. Kind of situation. Okay. Now, so the perception which we always has been told is auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. So we are supposed to bark. If you listen to a bark, your wish. If you put something cotton in your ears, you're lost. I'm not going to go down and take the blood out of you and all that kind of thing. I'm totally non-violent. So that was the perception. But some of you are studying law here. Anyone? No. So you know the term precedence in law. What does this term precedent means? On rely on. Basically, what happens? Let's say if I file a case against you, I may try to see a local precedent, similar case. Am I right? If I don't get a local precedent, what do I do? I go to the national level, I see any case. If I don't get any similar case in national level, where do I go? International. So the next case I am going to tell you, it's right now being still contested in the Supreme Court of Canada, but the lower court has given a judgment because of which it has shaken up the accounting world. Okay, so think this is being still debated, but the lower court decision I'm just going to discuss. So this is a case study of a drama company. Drama company means not they don't do drama. It's like have you heard about this Kingdom Dreams in Gurgaon? There is something like they conduct drama every day. No, okay, like our Kalakshetra, right? Theaters kind of thing. They do every day some kind of drama, and they earn money. So there was this organization called Livent. So I'll go in nutshell because we are short of time, because I have many more case studies to discuss with you. But Livent is a very interesting case study because what happened, they went for bankruptcy, and if I have to just give you quickly the summarized version, what happened is the creators of this company, they made auditors in that case, so it's in public domain, I'm not saying the word is done back, I'm just telling it's in public domain, Deloitte was the auditor there, and they said, you are also party to this bankruptcy case. Deloitte said, okay, it's not a problem, because maximum what will happen, if you get into this kind of case, you have something called dereliction of duty, not doing your duty properly, you will be a penalty of $1-2 million and you are out. Maximum this keeps happening in terms of, especially in US and Canada and that part. But when the judgment came after 6 years it fought, there a lot of issue happened. It went for a very long time, 6 years. When the judgment came, the judge and the jury, they said that after paying off all your debt, like after selling off all your asset, how much money is short to pay to the creditors? The amount came to 84.8 million. The judge said, and the jury decided, the remaining money will be paid by Deloitte. Can you imagine? It's not a penalty, huh? You are being made a party. Unless something happens, I think I have my own view on this case. I will not discuss that now. But what this judge is saying is, despite you were the auditors since 90s, and this case like the result came in something around 2000. Like for 10-15 years, Deloitte was auditors for a long time, and there were plenty of warning signs. Despite that, you have not said anything about that. Now you are party to this case, so please pay 84.8 million, whatever the money is short. Imagine if this case would have happened in India, in Satyam case, whatever the money lost, they would ask PwC as to pay it off. That's a scary precedence. I hope you are getting my point, why I brought this term of precedence. It may happen with us also, with the bankruptcy code which has come now. If any of our client goes bankrupt and then they say, okay, 20 lakhs rupees, please pay. Your fees you have taken is only 20,000 so far. Now you have to pay. Return of investment is, I don't know. So this thing is setting a very negative precedent. And let me tell you one thing you have to understand. The world don't think you. Today you and me understand this term watchdog and bloodhound. For other part of the world or everyone outside, if auditor has given a certificate, it's like a certificate of truth, right? So the perception of the public is changing. And if we don't, I would say, stand up to this, it will be a problem. Another cases which are happening, which is very shocking, just one example I'll give you and then we'll directly jump into the content. This is like perception of what is a fraud. I have a definition, but if you see all the laws in this country, there are only two laws which gives you definition of fraud. One is our favorite Companies Act, second is the Indian Contract Act. Apart from that, there is no definition of fraud per se given in Indian law context. But let's try to understand. Let's imagine a situation, someone in your family is not feeling well, and you go to the doctor and they say, oh, the person is actually in a very bad situation, you need to get some life-saving drug for this person. And you go to the medical store and whatever is the prescription written, the medical store representative says, sir or ma'am, this prescription, the same medicine I have but with a different brand. You will ask which brand, so I will give you 4 brands. Novartis, Renbaxy, Microlabs and Cipla. 4. Which one would you buy? Or which one you are, all are good brands, right? Microlabs is Namma Bangalore brand actually. I don't know if you know this or not. Shishadipram. So, which one would you buy? Are you fine with all of them? But what if I tell you one of the brand of medicine which you are buying have never been tested, and your dear one or dear one whom you are taking, that person is the guinea pig? Would you be shocked? I am saying 4 out of these 4 brands, one of has never been tested, no clinical trial. You are a clinical trial, please try. That situation. What you will do?
So how is this possible?
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point, man. How is it possible? Satyam also people say, how is it possible? Fixed deposit? Yeah, I agree. That's the beauty of fraud. We have to appreciate those guys who do frauds, okay? Because if they are not, honestly, if they are not there, we are the fraud fighters, right? We fight fraud. If they are not there, who will give us money? So it's a good thing. Let them do more and more fraud, so that goes to a level where they just want us, okay? To fight them kind of situation. Anyway, jokes apart. So, if I am telling 4, which one do you think would never have been tested? Any guess? Ranbaxy? Microlabs? Anyone Microlabs? No one? Cipla? Novartis, why not? Just because it's a Gora brand? Anything which is Gora will always have a Okay, the brand I'm telling you is massive. How many of you know that paid a settlement of $1 billion plus for settling FDA US athlete? They have never tested. I'm just showing you two, extract of an article which was published. So Dinesh Thakur, the whistleblower in this case, got the Sentinel Award from ECFU. Sentinel Award is an award given to whistleblowers worldwide. So he got a lot of money also. He got $23 million plus this award. So being whistleblower, in any case, anyone from industry, it's a good business. So he asked, what happened here was, this is an extract of the interview which was given. You can go to acp.com and download the whole interview and read it for yourself. And they have actually explained you everything how they did for. When back CE, this guy was called, he was head of quality. He was hired as head quality. He's actually a US citizen of Indian origin. He was hired to bring us quality controls and everything. And director of quality asked him to, because one of their drugs which was sent in Africa got somehow blacklisted. So they said, can you check up where all we have given false, just see the word they have used it, where we have provided made up data to seek WHO pre-qualification. So to get a WHO pre-qualification is some made up data here. The data needed, what they found out, very soon we found a large gap in the data that was submitted to regulators worldwide by the company, and the data needed to secure marketing authorization many companies across the globe did not exist at the first place. I hope you know there is something called as a medical trial. First is tried on animals, then there are clinical trials on humans. After humans, they will actually gather all this data, and only after that it comes to the public. What these people were doing is, there were no humans, they just created books of account kind of thing. Created on accounts or all this data which was created, where actually clinical trial was not done, and they were able to do that. Now the question comes, I don't know if you will ask me or not, or anyone from pharma industry, how do they get the sample? They have to give the sample to the regulatory body also. So there is a big market, black market for innovator samples. Innovator samples is like inventor who invented the molecule, his samples are there. So like say, he will submit 5 samples to the regulators. Out of 5, 4 will come out. And they will submit it again. Same thing will be submitted again. So it happens, it's a big black market. If you understand that, you will be there. Now this kind of fraud is a fraud on people. Yes, their top line and bottom line has gone very good, but this is actually a huge amount of fraud which is done. So Rempex is complete total, top line and bottom line was actually made up of this. And but one thing is that they were very professional. Huh? In doing fraud also they were very professional. You won't believe they had a steam room to age the document. Anyone in, if you Google it out, steam room in pharma, they will keep steam room to keep medicines as a different temperature and humidity and all the things. These are called steam rooms. They had a special steam room in their headquarters in Gurgaon, where they have a big office. They had a headquarters where they were actually keeping a steam room to age the document. So basically, let's say for example, you are an FDA inspector, you come and say, I want documentation. Some documentation is not available. Say, okay sir, it is in our office, we'll bring it tomorrow. They will send the information, they will print it up overnight, keep it overnight in the steam room. So the paper will look not newly printed, aged. Can you imagine? This is professionalism, right? So this kind of things are also what we say as a fraud. Now, as a fraud fighter, everything comes into the purview of what we are dealing with. Why it is getting kind of I would say forensic accounting is the next frontier for all of us, because from the perspective of auditing, how we do audit, it will undergo change. Many of the things which we are seeing in forensic accounting are coming in mainstream auditing, and I will give you with an example. So this is the definition of fraud. So this is the Black Law Dictionary, what it says about this, and the second one is from SFO UK. Okay, so the Black Law Dictionary says all multifarious means which human ingenuity can devise and which are resorted to by one individual to get an advantage over another by false suggestion, suppression of truth, includes all surprise, trick, cunning or dissembling or any unfair way which anyone can be cheated. And similarly, SFO, which is like Serious Fraud Investigation Office, talks about fraud as abuse of position. That's why we have something which we know in Companies Act. What happens if the CFO and CEO wants to do a fraud? Can anyone stop them? They are known as the toxic combination, right? So that's the reason they have a free boarding and lodging terms which are there in the law, that in case you do something fishy, we'll send you for free boarding and lodging. So there are abuse of position, false representation, prejudicing someone's right for personal gain. Someone else has a right on that and you are trying to prejudice this for personal gain. All this amounts to a fraud. So the definition is very big. Even why I am not taking the companies as definition, because if you read that definition, everything you do from morning to evening is fraud. I'm not joking, seriously. It's actually a little scary, I would say. And fraud is nothing new. We guys invented fraud, not invented, but we knew about fraud from a long time. See, in Arthashastra by Chanakya also, he has talked about 40 different types of fraud. Can you imagine this? So tomorrow, just like we said we invented zero, we said we invented fraud. Yeah, you should be proud of it, because you know what? Have you heard of a term called Hawala and money laundering?
Yes.
Hawala word is there in US, in one of the law act of UK, US, what's that? US Freedom Act. There. In that they have used the word Hawala. So imagine, we taught them. You should be proud of that. So in one of this case, they have talked about fraud is collecting from A, showing it received from B. I hope you know this is the famous term of teaming and letting, which we have learned a long time. This was there in a book which was written up before Christ, so such a long time ago. And 1800 years ago, this gentleman said, it is difficult to ascertain how much water fish drinks or the destination of flying bird. Similarly, it is difficult to find out the fraud of the smart experienced officers, and that's the reason forensic accounting is the way out. So, before I go into that, what opportunity do you have in perspective of forensic accounting? Now, forensic accounting is basically nothing but application of our accounting knowledge in a potential case, or in a case where you are trying to put that information or evidence from a perspective of a court of law. Let me give you an example. I hope you have seen CSI Miami, CSI or CID. Have you watched CID? Daya? No. Now, see, court always go by evidence. I hope you agree. Now, we have our accounting skills, our auditing skills, and our understanding of accounting standards and auditing standards. That leads to something which we can apply this in a dispute, a potential dispute or actual dispute, which is going into the court of law. Which means your whatever knowledge you have, you try to gather evidences which can be taken into the court of law from a perspective of something which is gone wrong. For example, I'll just give you one differentiating factor. In our regular audit, can you do an estimate? I think estimated 50,000 rupees loss happened. I'm just giving you. But when I do a forensic accounting, I cannot estimate, because in the court I have to be in a black and white. Either 50,000 or 45,990. It has to be exact. So which means you have to deep dive. You have to do 100% worksheet. You have to take care of that and do that. Now, Institute has something called as a certification. I hope you know that. It's a certification on forensic accounting. You can also go to, there are many other bodies. I think YouTube is a good channel if you want to learn about forensic accounting, how to report and everything. There is a channel called by the name of ECFE, where you can actually see all the videos and everything about frauds and how it happened. And third thing, I don't know how many of you heard of Coursera. Coursera? Okay. Coursera has a free course on forensic accounting and fraud detection. It's a free course. You can just go and it's like around 300 hours. 30 hours, I'm just joking. 300 hours, no one is going to do this course. It's a 30-hour course, which is very good. I would highly, it's actually from the University of Rice. University of Rice, I don't know where it is, but they have a very good course content. You can actually go and do it. So basically it's nothing different. It's like regularly auditing, but it's a bloodhound audit. Are you getting my point? You cannot do sample testing. It's 100% virtual. Every evidence has to be taken. Now let me give you an example of how it happens. Favorite area, bankers love forensic accounting. Why do they require forensic accounting? Any idea? When the loan becomes default, that time they require to know where did the money go, because they never know themselves where did the money go. Why? Can anyone tell me that? Because when the money was disbursed, on what basis did they disburse that? Okay. Huh? Sorry? Security. No, something more is there. End use. Perfect. What was the end use of that? So Mr. Vijay Mallya takes 3,000 crore and use it for calendar, Kingfisher calendar. So where does the money go? It was taken for Kingfisher airline and goes for Kingfisher calendar. Are you getting my point? So the point which I am trying to make out is what was the end use. Also, you need to understand there are a lot of smart people, very smart people. I'll just tell you one case. I'll not name it because it's not in public domain. We did sponsor it only. Now, I'm an exporter of gold. I go to the bank and I take on my trade receivables and everything, something around 45 crores of loan. Then, after all the loan has been disbursed properly, 3 months I work properly, no problem. After third month, I start sending all my export to only one firm in Dubai. Okay? And within 6 months, this guy has been already sent 60 crore worth of product with no money coming in. Only my items are going, no money is coming in. Bank says, what happened? You say, sorry, bad debts. What can you do? Take my collaterals. The collaterals will be only 5-6 crore. Now, prima facie it looks like all hanky-dory, everything like not hanky-dory, it's all okay. But actually when you dig deep, you find that this money was taken. If you do something called as money trade, means every entry you find, this entry, this money went into this account, from this account it was passed to 5 different accounts. From that money they purchased so much of raw materials. This raw material was purchased and ultimately what happened? This raw material was converted into finished goods and everything was sent to Dubai. When you try to find out the ownership of that Dubai based entity, you find it is a related party. But can you prove it? You go to, there are like basically the banks even fund your trip there. You go to Dubai, you find that this was only one shop. How many of you have been to Dubai? Okay, so you have this, what is that called, the gold soak. It will not even be in the gold soak, it will be in some residential building, one small shop will be there. And this guy is actually operating out of that. And when you go and find out, it was just a sham. That money from that account, if you are lucky, basically why Dubai, Hong Kong are known to be, these are basically money laundering hub. So if these are black holes. Once the transaction go there, even if you ask the government there, they will not help you. I think good thing, I don't know what agreement they have signed with this gentleman who has come to Republic Day, but one of the agreement which you signed is, can you give access to your banking system and we can get detail. Because most of the money which goes out of India goes to Dubai route. Now this kind of traction, this kind of things, so that what happens after this is, you can use this information, your accounting knowledge information in the court of law. Tomorrow the bank may want to file a case against them. So if they have to file a case against them, this policy accounting comes into picture. I hope you are getting a picture of where it actually helps. Ultimately it's an accounting knowledge, but if you are finishing a regular accounts, auditing in 3 months, this may take 6 months with bigger number of people. But it is deep dive. You are diving deep into that. Are you getting my point? So this is what is all about forensic accounting. Now I have something on why people do fraud. You want to know that? Okay. So why do you think people do fraud? Because they can do fraud. Yeah. But there are a lot of research which has happened in this, and there is some interesting concept called fraud triangle. They say people do fraud. Any fraud which happens, these 3 things will be there. So if you take one thing out, if you are thinking from fraud prevention in your organization, this is one thing you should do. Take one of the things out. Fraud happens because of 3 things: incentive, opportunity, and justification or rationalization. Now let me give you an example to explain it. Incentive is, I have a pressure, I am in a big debt. If I don't do this fraud, no other option. Or by example, I am a person who is in charge of sales. If I don't do this, fraud, my target will not be met, my salary will not come. Opportunity. Internal controls are weak. Most of the fraud happens because internal controls are weak. And the third one is justification. Justification is the most interesting thing. How many of you have done that? You would have done some bad thing and then gone to, like, let's say from a bad deal or something, you got some 10,000 rupees and then taken 5,000 rupees to the Venkateshwara Hundi and put and say, 50% for you, 50% for me. No? Or like done something and say, okay, next time I'll not do it. This time, adjust money. No? You see, the point is that everyone is very tough to justify yourself. If you do unethical work, you have to say, just like, Amir Khan says 3 Idiots, all is well, all is well. When does he say all is well? When everything is well? No. When everything is not well. Similar things, okay? So these are the 3 things why fraud happens. And it's not like it has to be equally there. It can be in different, types here and everything. Let me go to the next part. In information technology, that was on forensics, so I quickly go on to the information technology. How many of you have heard about this concept called big data? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. What is big data, sir? What do you think? Very big data? So quickly, I'll just tell you, this is what, we all know about up to gigabyte, right? So we have now terabytes, petabytes, exabyte, zettabytes, yottabyte, rontabytes, geobytes. Oh my god. I remember I started when article sheet 1.44 MB floppy drive used to be there. That also we used to tell the client give us 2 because it used to get corrupted. Actual reason was we wanted one for ourselves, one for office. Okay. Now the point is that this is recorded, huh? Another problem. People will think you're a cheap guy corrupting us. Anyway, so a fraud. See, actually all of you are a fraudster. Come on. So this is the amount of data which is being generated right now in our country. Because if you are counting, it means it's generated. Like I'll just give you one statement by Eric Schmidt, which will settle the debate. Eric Schmidt, the chairman of Google, in the last IO conference, made a statement which was very interesting. He said, the amount of data generated by the world every 2 days is equivalent to the data generated from the dawn of the civilization till 2005. So from the dawn of the civilization, when we used to paint on the caves and everything, till 2005, whatever data we generated, we are generating every 2 days. Don't you think we generate so much of data? Pictures we take, stock market data, transactional data, you name it, is getting generated every day. And that's the reason has led to a huge amount of data explosion. Also on the same side, there is also one very interesting thing. They say 90% of the world data was created in the last 2 years. Can you imagine that? That's shocking. Huge. Aadhaar is one of the examples, right? So much of data is created out there. Also what has happened is, there are tools and technologies are also going very fast. I am actually scared, honestly speaking. 2005, or let's say, I became a CA in 2003. When I became a CA in 2003, life was very simple. It's a very tough life now. You see the technology around you, it's actually, sometimes overpowering on us. And this kind of situation, what will happen in next 20 years? Can you imagine this? That's going to be scary. But having said that, there are also a lot of new technology which has come, and whatever you're seeing here are mostly open source technology I've tried to do, which can actually crunch that data. See, I have an i7 laptop here. I remember when I was in Goldman Sachs, I used to do ACL, scripting, like we used to do scripting. If I have 1 million line item or 2 million line item, it used to take something around 6 to 8 hours to crunch that data. Today, I can actually do around 20 million line items in this machine on a free software called Python. Now, technology has changed. Computing power has gone high. But imagine, it means I have to rework on my way of doing things. So what happens in big data is this 3 V's. Huge volume of data. Huge volume means it's around terabytes and terabytes of data. Variety is different. See, if I have all the things in the database, SAP database or Oracle database, all fine. But you have scanned copies, you have Excel files, you have all different kinds of data. So it's a variety of data. And third, velocity is changing, is updating itself, right? Your SAP instance, does it like, you can take a backup and it will remain the same, or it keeps on changing, it keeps changing, right? So even your Facebook, every time you log on, it's a different thing. So velocity of the data was changing. Now these 3 things are called the big data. And this is changing the way we do those things. So you can think of different types of file, unstructured data, semi-structured, and all this data on the World Wide Web. Can we use this in our auditing? So the concept which I was going to talk about was big data and machine learning in auditing. So what is big data? I told you variety of structured data and everything. What is machine learning? Can you guys sit for another 8 minutes to 10 minutes? Yeah, I told you 5:30, so it's 10 minutes more. Okay. Because 6 o'clock anybody else goes out. There is another meeting is there. So we have to just finish in 10 minutes. So machine learning is, how many of you used to like statistics in foundation or? Okay. You guys are smart people, seriously. So regression analysis. Okay. Think of how can I make a linear model which will teach cell. Like for example, I'll just give you an example. Imagine if you can make the system learn to predict bad debts. Possible? Statistically possible. Now that's called deep learning or machine learning. In fact, there are a lot of companies are using it. It's also called as robotic process automation, which means automate the human part of that. It will be like as much as possible automate the human part which is redundant and it keeps on happening. Now it means actually you have to upgrade yourself. If you don't upgrade it, most of our regular skills work will be taken by the machines. So what happens is, how do we upgrade it? So machine learning is one area. I would highly recommend you to read about that. There is a a channel on YouTube called Analytic University. You can go there and there is complete courses are there, free courses on that. So you have to also understand that the way we learn is changing. No more you have to come to a class or anything and sit there. You have all this information available at your fingertips. You have to only give your time to it. Some speaker was talking about something back that is about investing in yourself, more and more time, more and more effort. But this is something which is interesting. If you are investing yourself for next 5 years to 6 years, I would suggest if you are focused on auditing, this is the area of forensic audit and machine learning and big data. These are the three terms you should be investing more time. Okay. So with that, I have this one last slide which I want to talk about. Why does analytic and big data help you in doing it? It tells you I'm answering 3 questions. Hindsight, what happened? Which means the past. Second, insight, where is the problem? Root cause analysis. What actions are needed and why this is happening again and again. And the final thing is foresight, which means how in the future we can reduce it and make sure it doesn't go work the way it has to be done. So these are the types of answers analytics can give. And if you use it with big data and other things, like I'll just give you one simple example. Next time you want to know related party, how do you find, what is your audit procedure when you do find out, you want to know that okay, this company, directors, who are the related party? How do you find out? Only declaration? Yeah? Or ask them, they will not tell you. Why can't we have an audit procedure? I'm just giving an example. So I'm telling you the real thing. I know it's practically very tough. So I'm just telling you the audit procedures. Next time you do that, go do one thing. Please find out all the addresses which are there at the MC database about the director and whatever address he has given, and go to another database. You know what is the database? That is the database of Election Commission of India. Okay, no, I'm not joking. We do it programmatically, we can do it. We do it in analytics most of the time in forensic audit. We find you can analytically go and see that address and you can see how many more people are staying in that address. And then you can go to LinkedIn and find out Facebook about those guys and see the relationship. I'm giving you a new perspective about auditing. Gone are the days when, let me tell you one thing, whatever your bosses have told you during articleship or if you are following the practice, management representation is bullshit. Please understand that. If you are relying on that in the court of law, I'm talking from the court of law, you cannot hide behind a management representation. Okay? That's it. Okay? So that's all from my side. I'll not go into all these things. This is what you can think of as a future. Expect the unexpected. You see this, there's an apple and there's orange inside it. Okay? This is what you're going to have. Okay? So be prepared for this. Thank you very much for your patience hearing. I know I was talking to your presentation. Thank you.
Friends, presentation, very interesting topic of forensic audit and information technology. A fantastic presentation from CA Anand. Let us thank him for his knowledge, valuable time and knowledge sharing with a round of applause. It's time to present a memento to the speaker on behalf of Young Members Empowerment Committee of ICI and also on behalf of Bangalore branch of SAS of ICI. May I request CA Bhavani Ayadurai to come forward and present a memento to the speaker as a token of appreciation and gratitude. Ladies and gentlemen, please thank the speaker. Thank you, CA Bhavani. Last but not the least, you are the reason for this seminar, workshop. Let me thank each one of you, my wholehearted thanks for it. Also thank Bangalore and staff for their wonderful arrangement of this venue and afternoon food, everything. Thank you very much.